Nilqakom għal din il-podcast, il-mistieden tagħna llum huwa David Camilleri, magħruf bħala Gaġġa. Ma' David iddiskutejt is-sena l-oħra u konna daqshekk naif li ħsibna l-liġi kienet ħadd tkun daqshekk user friendly, imma fil-verità kull ma ħanlaqtu l-breadcrumbs.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Welcome, David. Big pleasure.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, Sayan.
This is our first podcast. To celebrate it on weed.
Oh, good. I love cannabis. It's a good podcast then.
Tell us about yourself a little bit.
Well, about cannabis and me, it started when I was 5 years young. And I was, as a child, at 5 years old, I wasn't speaking properly. I would say one syllable words. And my mother, took me to this guy. My parents took me to this guy, French Talarp. He's considered a saint.
A saint, yes.
He's considered a saint. Because he healed a lot of people with herbs. And one of his main herbs was cannabis.
The one that...
cannabis with CBD.
With CBD.
Nowadays we call it annabusa, and in Malta it's called
annab.
Annab, as what? Yes, exactly. And so we used to grow it. And my mother used to, give me animal dung, humus, and to feed it. And this plant used to grow about 20 feet high. And it was, spindly, strong. And I used to, every day, to harvest leaves from that. And then when it grew, started to make flowers, I harvest the flowers too. And this to make a tonic, a tincture of, water and leaves in a bottle of whiskey. It's not whiskey, we recycled everything. Right. A bottle, fill it, like a bottle of wine, we fill it with that. So to let it...
fermentase.
To release the medicine from the leaves. And the way it's easy, French Talarp gave her an easy recipe, it was like water, leaves, cannabis leaves or flower, and a shot of anisette. Anisette. That's what we had. It's almost like Zambuca today.
Yes.
But we had the anisette back then. I'm talking about in the 60s, 67.
I still use it with coffee. Anisette is
good. So that alcohol brought out of the medicine, the CBD from the hemp, from the annab.
And it helped you to speak again. Huh?
Yes. As a 5-year-old, I knew the words to say, but my brain couldn't communicate to my tongue and say the words. I knew the words, but I couldn't say them. What reason is now, because I research cannabis for a long time, for past, since the 80s, start reading and growing it too, so I learned a lot. What happened is with the CBD, this inflammation that you have in your brains that doesn't communicate well, the neurons. Yeah, they inflame, so they misfire. And what happened with CBD, it was inflamed, my brain, I guess, and relaxed the neurons, and I could start speaking properly more. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I did it till I was 12. 10, I believe. Then in 1972, cannabis became illegal by the United Nations, passed in the United Nations. It's illegal and harmful and should be banned everywhere in the world.
Shameful.
Yeah, and Mintoff was empowered back then. And we were growing it.
Yes,
we didn't know it was illegal, but they made it illegal to grow cannabis. And people said, be careful, the police will arrest you. Because they started arresting people from Howdesh who were growing cannabis. they used to grow it.
It's a plant, it's a natural
It's a plant, yeah. It's easy to grow.
It's a misconcept about
totally. Yeah,
the devil lettuce.
Yes, devil lettuce is during the 1937 they did the movie. Was called
the one from Western movie or the other one?
No, it's about cannabis. That is dangerous. It was called the wow.
Because I've seen a movie an old movie in black and white.
Yes,
but it's based on Western. Like cowboys and stuff.
I didn't see. This one was more a documentary type to scare people.
To scare people.
Yeah, to scare people, and it became illegal. And it's in 1937. It's called the marijuana tax stamp, and they have to have a license to grow cannabis, hemp. Because from hemp they used to make fiber, the best fiber.
Ropes.
And ropes and best paper too.
Yes.
Yeah, and
you can do a lot of things with it.
Yeah, it would have ruined big industries back then. It was the steel industry, the oil, because you can make fuel from it. Because back then, what's name Henry Ford built a car totally made from hemp. The fiber from hemp, and it's lighter and it looks like fiberglass.
It's lighter than metal.
So instead of using fiberglass, they use hemp fiber, and stronger than fiberglass probably.
You see, you learned me something new today.
Yeah.
I learned you this one from the light.
Yes.
Something new, huh?
Yeah. So sorry, I'm blabbling around, but that's
right. It's okay. It's good.
Yeah.
How did you get to the United States then?
I was 18. I went to, I had some friends who from my village. They were good friends. They went to New York, and my brothers were in New York as immigrants. And I, applied by visa. I got a visa, a green card, and I, through, connection to New York, family, friends, and I went, and I loved it, New York City, because I came from Oudish, man.
It was a different place then, huh?
Oh, you go on the roof and you see the whole Mediterranean around you, Malta was at big distance, was so hard to get too. Back then in the 60s,
and there were
70s.
There were not many big buildings like
New York.
It
was very rural, and this was big
nice,
difference. But everywhere is like that.
Still beautiful, but it's like we're taking too much land now.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
We're ruining our soils. Huh?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we should be growing hemp in those soils.
if you remember last time I said. That if they took notice of what Carmelo Mifsud-Bornici had proposed back when he was
in the 80s, yes,
in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember.
He said we still sell cannabis, but we label it as poison. You remember that?
No, I remember that. Not at all. I heard because I was in New York City.
That's 80s. What I just hear it from a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, what I heard was that he wanted to legalize cannabis to grow.
Yes, not to grow, to sell it from the pharmacy, and he was ahead of
the game. Yeah.
And nobody took notice.
No, nobody took notice. It was a shame, and people were scared because it's a drug. It kills people.
It's not a drug. For me,
it's medicine. That's what it is. It's medicine.
For me, it's a plant.
Yeah, it's medicine. It's one of the best medicines in the world. That's why it's they did it illegally, because it cures hundreds
pain relief,
and hundreds of diseases too. And or it helps a lot of people.
Socialize
in everything.
Good for everything.
Yeah.
Any stories from there, from the United States?
Stories, United States. Luckily, I was living in New York City. That in the 80s it was so full of crime. I mean, I've seen people being shot in the street.
Live,
yeah. Like minutes, from a distance, and you see bang, 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 and you look and somebody falling down. Yeah, it was mafia, a lot of mafia killings back in the 80s. Yeah, there was a mafia war going. And then in mid-80s, it was cocaine war. It's like, you know, Spanish Americans from Spain, Cuba, more Cubans, It's almost the scene, like, you know, movies.
Like Scarface.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Similar like that. Yeah, in New York City. Yeah.
And that's how it was based. The story that they came from Cuba, but probably it was because a lot of Cubans came to, you know, by boat in the 80s. Probably they were criminals who escaped from prisons, or Castro let them go to get rid of them from prisons. I think that's why they made a lot of money back then with.
I don't know. I'm sure.
You know,
I see from movies. There's a movie Blow.
Blow, yes.
Yes, it was very interesting. It was a true story. I was so shocked to see it because that's where most of the drugs came from, California. I didn't know how it came. I thought they came by airplanes. I know.
No, they came in a lot of ways.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
When Pablo Escobar, he used to make plates and utensils with it.
Oh my! Yeah.
They pressed it.
Yeah.
And even the case of the television, you know, the body of the television, yes.
A smart motherfucker.
Made it with like plastic.
Yeah,
They did something to dissolve it, and it came back. There's a process to.
Of course, I'm sure of it. Yeah.
To make it back.
Yeah. Wow, so smart, motherfucker. Smart motherfucker. He was a billionaire.
The last time I read the story when you were growing weed and the police told you when you're cutting.
Oh yes, that's right. That's why in the 80s there were so many people being shot and killed. First was the mafia war, then the cocaine war. There were so many killings, people dying in the street and muggings in the street. Oh my God, it was crime-riddled New York City, the worst city in the U.S., probably in the world. Anyway, I'm crazy to be there, but I loved it there. So yeah, I started growing marijuana in my fire escape. First, I did it in my window, and you know, then
from the window you don't catch too much light.
Yeah, it grew because I had southern light.
Still,
but then I was afraid. Then I learned from a policeman. He told me a story that he arrested somebody selling cannabis, and he took him to court. And the judge, he told me the story himself. I said, what do you mean? He said, David, you can't grow marijuana, or if they catch you with marijuana, just I'm telling you as a policeman, you know, blah blah blah, you know. Yeah. If the judge, he went there he told him, if you bring another case like this, I'll put you in jail. I'll hold you in contempt of court. He's telling me that himself. And I was arrested. Listen to this. It's funny. I arrested for pruning a tree.
Pruning?
Yeah, because this tree had a branch. It was hit by a truck, and I got hit. And people were getting hit. So I thought I'm going to be a good Samaritan guy. So I pruned the tree, cut the branch, and saw me a woman walking the street. And she got angry at me. She called the police on me. I got arrested for pruning a branch.
A branch?
Yeah. And then, of course, I fought it in court. I went to, I got a ticket, like $90 ticket. So I went to in front of the judge. And when I was, the ticket said 9 o'clock, you have to be there. So I went at 9 o'clock. When I went there, the room was packed. There was like about 90 people waiting ahead of me, and there was people that came behind me because they were, Anyway, so many of the cases were about marijuana. Got caught smoking or an ounce of weed, and cannabis was still illegal. But the judges, what they did, because I read it later, why marijuana was decriminalized in the 80s, they had some backlogs of petty crimes. They didn't want to worry about it's a petty crime. It's a harmless. And these judges, they were hippies in the 60s when they were students. They all smoked weed. And they knew it was harmless. They are fucking judges, you know what I mean?
So it contributed.
Educated people.
It contributed to a good thing.
Yes. The flower revolution of the 60s.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, amazingly. They became judges and they say, hey, we can't waste time on this. But it was still illegal. But the judge decided to decriminalize it. If you come with I give you a murder. And then you know how the technicality was? Oh, what's your name? Sayan Cassar. How you spell Sayan? T-A-Y-A-N. It says S-A-Y-A-N. Oh, this looks like a T. This is not spelled right. They throw the case on technicality because misspelled name. And they make it technicality, made them up. So they release, and then he tell him, this boy, 14-year-old, is underage, came with his mother. He had a dime, they call it a dime bag. $10. A dime, ashra. Dime is a 10. Yes. So, he told him, marijuana is illegal, don't do it. Here's your mother. Tell him it's illegal, don't do it. Get out. They make technicalities for nothing. And then go to the police and scream at him. If I see you again, I give you 1 month in jail. Misdemeanor. No. Court contempt. Contempt of court. Sorry, that's the word he used. Contempt of court. As a judge, I ordered you as a policeman not to bring another case about cannabis, or I give you one notice, and he writes you your name, write it down. Hey, I got the notice. Here it comes again. Some asshole cops are lazy to pretend they're doing something. It's easy to catch somebody smoking weed, cannabis, and arrest them because you smell it, and they're harmless. You are so harmless. You get paranoid. You see the cop come and arrest you because you're smoking a joint.
The only crime you can do with cannabis is murdering a cake. Or a pizza or something.
Yes, exactly. Yes. It's a side effect. You eat a lot.
Yes, it's good.
It's healthy. So that's how it became decriminalized cannabis in New York City. Because the judges decided they won't waste time on petty crime. For them, it was a petty crime. It was harmless crime. And that's how it became. Go outside of New York City, you can go to jail because judges were still following the rules. Only New York City who decided that. Only New York City, judges of New York City decided that they will, don't take cases.
How many states? Do you know how many states it's legal there?
I'm not exactly.
Because there are some places that is.
There are tens. Yeah, probably 30 or almost 35, I believe. I don't know exactly what. Just about 35 states. Yeah, more than half.
More than half
of America.
Yeah, it's a
very good revolution. Yeah, and I think what did it, the internet did it, because an idiot like me can spread the good news about cannabis. You know what I mean?
But the problem, you get demonetized or something else.
I don't care.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's why I wanted you today, so we can talk about this.
I'm gonna light up. It's okay.
Yes. So how you grow there in
I used to grow. I stopped. I used to grow with,
because you had told me you had a permit for
72. I had only a license to grow 72 plants. Now I applied for 2,000 plants.
2,000 plants is good.
So I didn't want to risk it for 72, risk the license. Because you don't know what can happen, There's a lot of laws and technicality, and you might lose it on stupid things. So I decided to stop growing. For that, I don't want to risk the license. Before, I had nothing to risk, but now I have a license, 2000 plant license. I don't want to risk it. I want to, not to make a stupid mistake, whatever. So yeah.
You seen the case they arrested that doctor from the clinic, the pain clinic?
Yeah, I was very angry for that.
And nobody apologized to him. That's another thing, yeah.
The thing is, I don't know not much what was in the bag, so I cannot judge on it. But yeah, I think the judges start. I like this judge he supported him. Start putting these police in jail because they are wasting public money for nothing. Yes. They're harmless people. Why you go catch the murderers? Go catch the
other drugs that
are whatever. Harmful, yeah, the cocaine, heroin. That's where you spend your energy, not on cannabis.
Cannabis is really
healthy. It's good for you.
But not everybody understands that.
No, because
the mentality here is still...
because of the Reefer Madness. That was the movie name.
Huh?
Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness.
Yes, the movie.
I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah, stupid. Amazing how stupid. But excuse me. Reefer Madness is the movie that scared the nations, millions of people. Millions of people.
They should put him in jail, the guy that did.
No, the guy, he was the leader of the drug enforcement of the US back then. And he paid for it so they make cannabis illegal because he was DEA, the unit that, are against illegal drugs and alcohol. First, they had the alcohol prohibition.
Yes.
And he lost. It became legal. He was going to be out of the job. So he created this scare of cannabis as the drug that the Mexicans, or the black people do. That's why it's called marijuana. It comes from Mexico, cannabis back then. And they called Mary Jane, gave a nickname, Mary Jane. Maria Gianna.
You had problems here in Malta.
Yeah, I got arrested because of Maria Gianna.
Maria Gianna.
It's funny now, but back then was getting arrested wasn't funny at all.
Because you do your own business and you get arrested for a stupid thing about cannabis. The mentality here is really shameful.
Yeah.
Because like my mother, that it's harmful. It's harmful.
Yeah.
They still
Reefer Madness. That's where it comes from, and probably your mother saw this movie. That's why she's scared about it. Many parents saw it, and my mother saw it because she was. I remember talking about it. And, I said, that's funny, that's weird. And I was scared too. She scared me. I was, not 10 years old, 11. I was terrified. And it's so bad marijuana, and not knowing that we were growing it in the backyard, we didn't know, but we didn't even know what it looked like. But she's like, oh, why should I grow that? And nobody was afraid about it anyway. So it's funny to think about that.
I think the people that knew it was good back then, and when it became illegal, they knew that something was wrong.
Yeah.
Because like French Talarp, he used to make medicine with it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it came illegal. How?
French Talarp, he was persecuted in the 30s, I believe.
For cannabis.
For helping, curing people with medicine, herb medicine. And cannabis was part of it. They didn't say cannabis. He wanted to stop because he was taking business away from
the medics.
From the doctors.
Yeah.
From the doctors and pharmacy, yeah. That's what it is, businessman. Because in 1929, I believe, Rockefeller, he was a billionaire oil business. From the oil, he started making a lot of chemicals. And from this chemicals, they started making medicine. And, said, wow, he wanted cannabis illegal because it's so easy to grow and it cures a lot of diseases. It was interfering with his business.
Monopoly,
that's it. He was the biggest monopolist. Even in the oil industry, Standard Oil, he owned that. That's why he was the richest man in the world, still is. Compared, if it's today's time, he would be the still richest man in the world. He had the oil industry, the drug industry, cannabis. He owned the cannabis, the drug business.
To help the Clintons for the election, you have to have money.
Yeah, well, yeah. Any election needs money.
Because there was a story, but Rockefeller wanted this on the UFOs and stuff to get out.
Oh.
And he was helping Bill Clinton to get elected and stuff like that.
Who? Rockefeller?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I saw a small documentary. I don't know if it's real. That's where I first heard Rockefeller.
Oh, I see. Oh, because, I don't know.
But it was on YouTube.
Because Rockefeller, they're probably his grandchildren who are doing that. Because, Rockefeller is a big family, so probably grandchildren of original Rockefeller. The guy, this is a genius guy. Monopolist, business-wise, nobody would compete with him. He was a smart man.
I didn't know much about them.
That's why he's the richest man in the world. He controlled the drug companies. What he did was, he was so rich, he would go to university. I'll build you a wing for medicine, train doctors, I give you so much money, really, very generous money. He was so much money. Peanuts went, a few millions back then, was a lot of money. For him, it was nothing. He was a billionaire 150 years ago, talking about.
It kept growing.
So anyway, he would build universities, but you only study the medicine I give you, and you only prescribe the medicine I give you. Pharmacy, all you find is nothing herbal, all chemicals. And he wanted to, stop the homeopathy, that people who use this, natural medicine, herb medicine. And he stopped it. And he went everywhere in the world. He almost controlled, and so they studied the so they sell his drugs, basically. They sell his medicine, which for him, he can get from the oil, chemicals from the oil, and he can make all kinds of drugs, and they experiment. Okay, we'll put. Then the doctor I prescribe it to you for an ailment, whatever. And no, not all this medicine is bad. I want to say this clear. Don't want to vilify it, but that's why they want to vilify cannabis. It was competing with them, and they cure people. I guess they do. Sometimes they work. But cannabis shows that it works too, with less harm, and you can grow it yourself. You don't need to buy it from the pharmacy.
Exactly.
You grow your own medicine. That's why it was illegal. See, he was a smart guy.
I like
Rockefeller and yeah. And did you see the movie
Fear and Loathing?
No.
That was a crazy movie.
It was the best movie ever made. It was a genius guy. Orson Welles movie, Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane. He was genius movie.
Didn't see that one.
Changed movie history. People study it. It's amazing what he did. This guy, Orson Welles, was a very famous, writer, prolific writer, and talented guy. Anyway, so he did Citizen Kane, the movie, and it was about this guy, Rudolph William Hearst.
Didn't heard about this one.
Remember in the 70s, there was a woman kidnapped in California. Her name was Hearst. So she was his granddaughter, I believe, yeah?
No,
anyway,
I wasn't born there.
So this guy had just bought millions of money to buy acres of forest. So from this forest he can make paper, because he owns almost all newspapers in the US. They call them yellow papers because the paper yellowed. And back then, 1937, too, all this together, there were like 4 major industrialists owned. They were the richest people in the world, in the U.S. And they were, Rudolf William Hearst owned the newspaper, made a lot of money, and he bought this invested millions of dollars, a lot of his wealth, to buy this forest to make pulp, so they keep printing newspapers. And this was Citizen Kane is based on. And in 1937, they invented a machine they call decornicator.
Decornicator.
So where this machine will separate the pulp and with the fiber very easily. Before it was very hard consuming work. And this machine made it so easy to process and make pulp and, revolutionize pulp paper. And this guy, they would have destroyed him because 1 acre of cannabis, the hemp, will produce 4 times more than
deforestation.
The forest 4 acres of land, and the trees needs 50, 60 years to grow, to harvest, and they can do it in 4 months.
4 months.
This guy was going crazy. So they banded together, and it was to invent this car built out of hemp and run by fuel, which would have the Rockefeller. He didn't use the, petrol or diesel, whatever Rockefeller was doing.
From the oil,
From the Standard Oil, yeah. The steel industry, there's Guggenheim. He was a big industrialist. He had this steel industry.
Because they would turn to a lot lighter stuff.
Yeah, so like these 4 billionaires who controlled America's wealth, banded together and, to pass the law. And they called the Marijuana Tax Act.
Some paper money is made from hemp.
Oh yeah, the best paper, yeah. And the sales, sale for canvas, the canvas.
The canvas.
Canvas came from the word cannabis, cannabis. So because it was the most durable, and
it's burns slow, doesn't burn fast too.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but probably. But it's strong. Yeah, it's the strongest fiber natural fiber on earth. Strongest, can be beat. Nobody can beat it. Look, the sails, the ropes of the ships. George Washington passed a law that every farmer has to grow 7 acres of cannabis. Hemp.
It would be beautiful here.
What was hemp? Mostly CBD, and the seeds are the most. It's called a superfood, the most nutritious you can eat.
Superfood.
The seeds of
even the plant you can eat.
Yeah, plant. Yeah, and beneficial. Yeah, it's medicinal. That's why it was illegal, and it's still illegal in many parts of the world. But finally, it's coming, and I think the internet revolutionized this because now millions of people are aware and they read about it. Before everything was hidden. TV wouldn't do it. It was the internet who produced this revolution.
Even mention it was like it was a taboo. Huh?
Yeah.
It's not a, how you say. People don't die from it.
Nobody died
from it. But cocaine and other stuff like heroin.
Yeah.
People die from it.
Yeah, and they said, oh yeah. The 80s, I remember, they say, advertisement, marijuana, it's a gateway drug, they call it.
No, it's not.
It's the exit drug, not the gateway, exit. If you are heroin or cocaine addict, it will bring you out of it. It will cure you. And it's the exit, it's the exit drug, not the gateway.
They say people get addicted to this, to marijuana. I don't know.
Yes, it could be addictive.
But I made like 3 years not smoking it.
Yeah, I did that too. I stopped like this, the first 2 weeks, you get lightheaded a little bit. And after 2 weeks, you forget it. It was easy when I stopped. And I stopped for 7 years. And then, I After 7 years, decide to stop smoke. So, wow, what I'm missing?
No, I have a condition. I had some drugs for medication and they damaged my liver. So each time I take like painkillers, I have abdomen pain here. So I can't take painkillers. Understand? So I smoke instead of taking.
Perfect painkiller. It's not actually cannabis is not a painkiller. Like what say poppy is, like heroin or even cocaine, which are painkiller. Cannabis is not a painkiller. That's why it's not addictive. While heroin and cocaine are painkillers and are addictive. The body wants it. That's how you get addicted. Usually not, psychologically, but mostly the body will want it.
The heroin comes from the poppy, yeah.
Yeah, poppy plant, yeah.
So that should be illegal.
In a way,
I know
nothing should be illegal. Nothing should be illegal.
No, yes, but
because as soon as you make it illegal, you want people to have it. But I believe that now cannabis is legal in Malta. Not legal. It's not legal in Malta.
It's not legal. There are holes and
it's tolerated.
Back doors that they can go.
No, it's illegal at your house because your house is your kingdom. You can do whatever you want. That's how it should be. If you don't harm anybody. So they say, okay, in your house, we don't mind if you have 4 plants, which is plenty. 4 plants,
Yeah, 4 plants is good.
You can, you can have a supply of 1 year supply is no problem if you know how to grow. And it's so easy to grow. If you're an idiot, you can grow and you'll be successful. It's such a smart plant to grow. Easy, and it's a plant.
I try to grow.
It's intelligent itself. It shows you how smart it is. Really, she's a smart plant.
Plants, plants have the best capabilities to survive. Because when a plant is dying, it does everything to survive. So it's better than us.
Yeah. Later, please, because it got stuck.
All right.
I got it. Yeah, popped it. Have a chess. It's my first chess.
Your first chess?
Really? Yeah, because I drink wine.
Wine?
Yeah, red wine.
I don't drink.
I love red wine.
I don't drink that much.
It's like water sometimes to me when I drink. It's like it.
daw il-pariri li kontati inti fuq is-saħħa tal-bniedem u anke pariri oħra fuq il-ħajja tar-ruħ. Issa dana dupli jintilfu għal kollox. Issa dana mhux ma tkunx ħaġa tajjeb kieku inti tgħidhom lil xi ħadd u xi ħadd jiktibhom biex almenu jibqgħu anke warajk taħseb. Min għallimni jgħadu ħaj ma jmut qad. U min għallem ilek? Ħadd job. Min għallimni jgħallem dak qatt ma jmut. Ma tgħux minn jew ma jmut qad. من علمني يقعدوا حي ما يموت قاعد ومن علمني لك قاعد يقف من علمني يعلم ده بقت ما يموت ما تقولش من يوم ما يموت قاعد